Dude,
I know it's just going. You're like,
no, it's like it's so interesting to me, and I just feel like it's so impressive that you. It seems like you're perfect for this, but why did you want to do it? Like, and I guess what I'm really curious about too is you went and got a degree in it, and then you got an internship, and you worked for the staffing agency.
"Oh, I didn't get a
Was
degree for it.
you didn't do that? You didn't go to school?
I went to school, so that's a whole situation. I went to school, and when I went to school, because at the time when I went to school, I didn't get good grades in high school, but I was the original identity to go, the path to go is to run track because I was getting scholarship offers for that in high school, but didn't get really good grades in school. And then my mom got sick with cancer, so I had to like step up to
I'm
the
sorry
plate.
to hear that.
There's a different season for different reasons. We all got our hardships, you know. So, but it's part of life. But that was what in 2013 when she got diagnosed, and then when she got diagnosed, her husband split after she got diagnosed. So I had to help out my brother and sister the best I could based off the situation. Being 18, 19, was working at Buffalo Wild Wings at the time, and then um, and then I wasn't necessarily focused or the best at school, so I kind of dropped school after a few months. But out of that, um, when I was doing it, I remember vividly that I had a teacher that was doing a marketing class, and she told me that I'm really good. She told the class when we first started, I'm really good at teaching marketing, but I'm not really good at selling anything. So that was really interesting, and that's always stuck with me because it didn't make sense to learn something from her that she didn't necessarily know how to do, despite it sounding good of how she was reading the textbook. So from there, I went on a path of I bought a course like Ty Lopez. You know what Ty Lopez is?
No.
Okay, so he's somebody that had a YouTube video on a YouTube ad where he was like, "Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini,"
Oh
and
yeah, I've seen that.
yeah, so I was one of the first to see his ads in 2015 of January, February. So I saw that ad, and then he brought the correlation of
That was a compelling ad because
yeah,
I was a little skeptical, but I was like, I almost wanted to buy that right then and there, you
did
know?
I was one. It was 47. It was $97 a month or 67 bucks a month. But that was one of the things that got me, and I'm so grateful for it because I went through the 67 steps like 2 to 3 times, and the principles I learned from it, and but that put me on a path of learning from people that actually had credibility in the things that I wanted to accelerate in. And so that was a pinnacle moment where I was learning at the school. She was like, I'm not really good at teaching it, but I will teach you how to do it. And then that's where I was like, I went on a path consciously or subconsciously to the more you learn, the more you earn, like Kevin Trudeau. So I went on that path, and then I learned and I got into network marketing, and then they were giving me these book references and how to win friends and influence people. Um, Think and Grow Rich. And I went to conferences, marketing conferences. I bought courses like Ty Lopez. I met Ty Lopez, went to his conference in January of 2016. And then, uh, and then I got a picture and video with him. And after following him for a year, and then,
That's pretty
well,
cool.
yeah, it was great. It was great. I've just had a whole compound of outside education. It wasn't necessarily traditional per se. It definitely wasn't. But all my education, 99% of my education, if not all of it, that I really implement today is all out external of the education system because I definitely didn't thrive in it. But based on those circumstances, that's where it started.
Well,
And then
did you want to be a business owner or did you want to work in marketing and help? Did you want to do both or what was the plan?
I wouldn't say there was like the divine plan. It was something I found that I was curious enough in it. I was curious enough to continue to learn it, and then I just kept compounding small wins because during the time when I learned about network marketing, that was around the time that I discovered Ty Lopez. So those overlapped with one another. So that kind of accelerated me to become curious because all I knew is I just needed to be able to provide for my family. So at the time, again, my mom she was in remission for like 3 to 4 years, and then once she got out, she wanted to go ahead and go on her own path, and then she was trying to figure out things with her relationship, and then And so she wanted me to go, and the next goal is to go into life, figure out what that next chapter was in terms of having a job, having a family, defining what that was for me. And so part of the thing that was to propelling me was network marketing in 2020, into 2013, all the way to 2015. When I found out about Tai Lopez, speaking in front of crowds, to buying a course here and there and going to a conference, selling a T-shirt here and there, to buying a Shopify course. And then when I got moved to Arizona the first time, I had got a job selling vacations at International Cruises and Excursions. I think they rebranded, but overall, selling vacations, Mexican vacations to timeshares that people had. And then at that job, April 11th, 2016 is my first day. Somebody there invited me to a conference, which was like $50 to go to. I discovered Tai Lopez, the guy that was hosting it. Tai Lopez had him inside of his course. So by association, that was something I said, sure, why not, to go to. I didn't necessarily know the correlation until somebody at the job was like, you should go. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, I know who that guy is. And then I went, and then that was the internship at that conference that I went to by invite, and I paid $50 for it. It was a school opening for a school opening for entrepreneurs, and they needed entrepreneurs. And I was one of the 12 that got in out of like 500 people because I sat at the right table. Again, wealthy thinking 101. Just I was at the right table, literally at the right time, and then those people have relations with the person that started the school that I still know and talk to and respect to this day. That led me to that school where I aggressively learned marketing at a high level where people were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, 100 grand per week, millions a month on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube ads. And I really went all in with that. And that was where things kind of started to gain traction because while I was in the internship, I was like helping my friend at the time grow his Instagram page organically, learning the stuff that I knew. I built that from zero, from he had it at 10K, I built it to 70K. Then he wanted to do his own thing, so he randomly was like, "I got this." And then while I was doing that, I was at I was at the Mandalay Bay shooting. So when that happened in Vegas, you remember that in 2017?
Yeah.
So it was a entrepreneur event called Thrive. So Thrive was the event that I met one of my business colleagues that I roomed with for like 3 to 4 years, uh, Patrick, and he's been making money on the internet since he was like 5, 6, 7 years old. But he hates content. He hates stuff like this. I've been trying to get him to do a podcast like this
Yeah.
forever, but he's one of the most successful people that I know where he's doing big deals from the things that he's leveraged on the internet. But I was building Shopify stores at the internship. We met at the conference that I got a free ticket towards, and then that was the conference that I met him. Then as the conference ended, that's when the Mandalay Bay shooting happened. That's why I kind of use that as reference. That was an iconic time. But I met him, and then I had already built like a couple hundred Shopify stores, and then we crossed that information. I was building Shopify stores in 2018, all of 2018, the year my mom had passed away, and then while I was taking her to her appointments, and then that was where I really had a good grip of just massive leverage, where it was just a direct byproduct of the activities I was doing. It was producing revenue. But going back to the point, I didn't have a plan. It wasn't a plan. It was just curiosity. I've always been curious. Like I would say, I've always had a curiosity of marketing. Like I sold candy when I was a freshman in high school in 2010, 2009. Like that was because I didn't want to ask for money from my mom. I didn't want it to be like, oh, I didn't like doing that. So my grandmother gave me a stocks and bond. It was like $500 certificate. That led to me selling candy. I was like, and then my mom helped me open up a bank account. This was when I was in Michigan. But these are events that I didn't necessarily have a compass towards, or oh, I want to be a doctor. The original goal is just to run sports, be in track and field, because track and field is what I was good at and was great at. I was getting a lot of attention for. I was either going to do that or be hands on with like welding. I had welding classes. Like I was the person that was in. I built things like cabinetry. chairs. That's the stuff that interested me, or taking toys apart that had electrical wiring and putting stuff together with that. That was where I thought schooling was going to go, but everything that I do now was more so an assembly of all the things that I've gained curiosity for, and I've started small projects, and it's led to bigger projects. And now I have a passion and a clear lane of helping businesses align their story with their marketing, where they can like double their revenue, like Anthony, $500,000 a year to 1.2 $1.2 million the second year, and right now he's looking to go to 1.5 to $2 million this year, and he's only in a town of like 100,000 people. But now I have that clarity. But the compound happened with all these different details where it had no compass whatsoever, which they all have their own stories in between. Um, but no plan. It was just I had a knack, and you find out you're good at something, and you're like, I'm just gonna devote more time into it. And it was more so for myself, and I just wanted to be successful in the sense of taking care of myself and my family. And it was just I've just been devoting a lot of time to a skill. So unknowingly, it was just devotion to a skill, and then the skill is something that's irreplaceable now, to where I'm able to do it at scale, where I have a bunch of videographers that I have contacts with, to where once the production is needed, eventually the next phase I'm working on, where I don't have to be at the productions. I know what needs to be done now, to where I can have people sent out there and then have them on board, where I can like build a bigger team. So, but yeah, there was no there was no compass whatsoever. It's just thinking about it now. It was just a curiosity, like the movie Ants. Like the movie Ants, if you haven't seen it, but it's like you can be a worker ant, or you can be a colony ant, or a worker ant, or an army ant, where you could be a soldier. And I was the ant that was like, why do I have to choose either? And then
Right.
I wanted to go ahead and create something different. So I had his curiosity. So that's the one thing that I've always had, but no roadmap, not at all, no roadmap whatsoever. It was just defining moments that have correlation and like aha, like, oh, okay, that makes sense.